All right. I am going to be doing Smart Guys solo starting tonight on the late stream. We're going to see how the show goes. As long as the show still gets some attendance and support, I want to continue it through WrestleMania. And then we'll see what we want to do. You know, WrestleMania is only about a month away, so it would be a few more episodes or whatever, and that's it. And then we'll go from there. All right. Now, you might say, what the hell? What are you talking about? Smart Guys is a co-op commentary show about pro wrestling with you and PPP from Kino Casino. It's been going good for like over 2 months. You know, you're at 8 episodes. I think tonight was episode 9. You know, why would the show's format change all of a sudden right in the middle of everything? All right. Well, I'm going to give you the answer, but the answer won't make sense until you kind of go through the history. All right. But I'll just say this up front because I want to make this clear. Absolutely nothing that I'm about to tell you on this show is private information. Okay. I am not the kind of guy that's going to go and be like, oh, well, all this stuff was going on behind the scenes, private, and you guys don't know about it. So let me just spill all that shit right now and be a complete fucking dick and violate trust and stuff like that. I'm not going to do that. All right? I'm not. I'm just going to tell you basically my perspective on this whole ride since last summer of what's been going on. Excuse me. And how we got to where we got today. Okay? So basically, why am I doing Smart Guys solo? All right. Well, it's very simple. Okay. PPP on his show, Kino Casino, has increasingly started up with rhetoric that's pretty toxic, negative, and insulting towards myself and my family. Now, there's a difference between myself and my family. I want you to understand that. Okay. So Kino Casino essentially has done a lot for me. Back when I appeared on their show first in August, which I actually spearheaded by contacting them behind the scenes, which shocked them. They had no idea that I would ever do that. And then got on their show, had that initial interview, which was very entertaining, made lots more content with them and all of that, right? The whole idea was that something very different would come from it than all the other content that has been made, you know, over the years about me. And that it would actually like turn into something very different and interesting. All right. And I think it did, at least for a while. Okay. Now, since those guys did so much for me, I let them know, listen, I'm not going to have any bad feelings towards you if you guys use me in your content. If you have whole segments on me, ripping me a new asshole, saying my content sucks, saying I suck, I really don't care. I mean, everyone else does it anyway. You know, I'm okay with you guys. You might as well benefit from it too. Go for it, right? I'm not going to be like, oh, I'm going to be a dick now just because we did some content together. Now you can't make fun of me, okay? I mean, that's the whole premise of their entire show. And so you might wonder, you know, oh, why did Phil allow them once in a while to do that? Isn't that kind of like weird that you would let them, you know, insult you and make fun of you on their show, but then you're still doing content with PPP and you're talking about future content and stuff like that. Right? So it was all well and good. But if you haven't noticed recently, definitely the rhetoric has kicked up. And in particular, where I started to get wind that this was happening and it really was upsetting me was PPP starts bringing up my wife. Now, for those who don't know, my wife, Kat, has showed up in my content less than 10 times. All right? When she first moved in with me in 2018, all right? I think she was in like 3 streams where we did like Q&A and stuff, and that was it. And then she did one stream with me that was like a Halloween stream. And everyone made fun of her. I say everyone, it's the detractors, of course, made fun of her for her looks, and it really got to her, all right? So for many, many years, she never appeared in my content, okay? And then last year, early on, after years of kind of sitting on the sidelines and wanting to be part of the content, but I'm like, man, these fucking idiots are just going to say something. Finally was like, you know what? Who cares? Let's just do it anyway. And we were trying to plan like what kind of content she could be in last year. What could it be? You know, could it be just Q&A videos? Could it be actual gameplay? And so we kind of did a combo. We actually had a couple of streams where she was here for Q&A, and then 1 or 2 streams where we did this co-op of the Dondoko Island part of Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth. To be frank, the gameplay didn't really work. All right. It kind of like the game was boring. So after a couple of streams, we just cut it off. And then after that, I'm going to tell you something that I've kind of alluded to, but haven't really talked much about. Kat started to experience some health problems. And because of that, her health took a turn for the worse. And it wouldn't have made sense for her to start coming on stream with the levels of stress and stuff that she was going through. Okay. So that's why she just disappeared from my content. It wasn't that, oh, there's no content or anything we want to do. In fact, I had bought Beyond Two Souls to actually play with her and do a whole co-op playthrough of. All right. But then because of these circumstances going on, we just said we can't do it. All right. Now, over the course of the year, the good news is stuff got better. All right. It improved. And as you know, I didn't talk about it all year. That's private shit. No one really needs to know about that. But that's why she disappeared from my content and hasn't come back, because we're in a situation where we're already so stressed out about all kinds of stuff going on. And that is one of the many things going on in my private life right now. It's not everything, to be clear. And I'll talk about that in a second. But it's just one of many things. All right. And stupid camera, stop doing AI bullshit. So basically after that, we got questioned nonstop. Why is Kat not in your content? Where did she disappear to? And people speculate, oh, you got divorced. She's not there with you anymore. And all this bullshit and nonsense, right? It's all the same detractor crap that they all say. It's all bullshit. Okay. So finally, fast forward to this year and today and all this stuff going on. And all of a sudden, after weeks of PPP escalating this rhetoric on his show, this toxic stuff about me, which again, I don't give a shit. I really don't. I've got thick skin. I don't care what you say about me. Say it, get your rise, get people to toss you money for it. I just don't care. I don't. But when you start bringing up my family members for literally no reason, besides, oh, maybe this will also get something out of the audience. Maybe this will get a rise out of Phil. Because if you want to know the truth, I think that's what this is all about. I think that PPP wants to get a rise out of me. He wants to have me here freak out and start, going full path number 2, the return of the king of hate, the angry man who just wants to rage against everything and burn everything down around him and hurt everyone around him because all I care about is myself and, go crazy. And I totally feel like that's what it is. All right. But basically, when you start bringing up my wife for absolutely no reason, again, there's no reason. It's not like Kat is part of my content. She's not. Right. She was in like 3-4 streams last year. She stopped being part of the content. She's not affecting anything. So it's that simple. All right. It is. It's just that simple. There's no reason to ever bring her up at all. But he keeps doing it. Now, of course, you guys wouldn't know this, but I've spoken with him about this many times. Okay? Many times. This isn't the first time, second time. And every time I say, this has to stop, he apologizes. He says, I got too worked up. I got into my rhetoric again. I'm sorry. Okay, fine. And then some time will pass, and then he does it again. And it's like, wait, what are you doing? We had the conversation already. You understood it was wrong. You apologized for it. So if you did that, why are you doing it again? Okay? So this week, it's this simple. He won't stop. He's been doing it nonstop, like 2 shows in a row. And he basically feels like he just has free reign to say or do whatever he wants because, I guess free speech or whatever it is. I really don't give a shit. Okay? But I'm not going to let a man just publicly bring my family into his content because he feels like whatever, whether it's he thinks it's funny, he thinks it's free speech, he thinks this will get a rise out of me, So here's the thing. I can't stop him from doing it. I can't stop him from making that level of content. But what I can do is refuse to make content with him because I'm not going to stand for that kind of behavior. All right. If he was married and he had a wife, regardless of how she looked, how she acted, whatever, I would not insult his wife, period. There's just no reason for it. Even if I have a million problems with him, I wouldn't insult his wife. In fact, even when we went as hard as we did on Review Tech USA, I said I really don't want to talk about his family and his wife and that stuff going on. I'd rather just you go at the individual. You go at their misdeeds and the things that they're doing wrong publicly. You don't try to go behind the scenes at the low blow jugular shit. I'm not that kind of guy. All right. So it was the same thing there. So it's that simple. And that's why I can't do it anymore. I'm not going to be doing a show with this guy who is going to be constantly bringing up my wife in a toxic, negative manner and insulting her in his content. All right. So tonight on my late stream, excuse me, at 6:45 p.m. Pacific time, Pacific Daylight Time, over on the DSP Reacts channel and on my Kick channel, I will be solo streaming Smart Guys covering SmackDown and Raw from this week. It's going to be wrestling commentary and a lot of interaction with you guys because this is the difference. When I'm on the show with him, it's him and me interacting. So I don't really have opportunity to talk much with the chat. Now it's going to be me and the chat. So it's going to be a little bit different kind of show, more of an interactive dynamic. I'll be shouting out contributions right away. We'll be having that conversation immediately. And we'll see how it goes. Like I said, if it goes well, if people show up and engage and support, I will continue to do the show through WrestleMania. And then we'll see what happens after WrestleMania. If I continue to do the show or not, I'm not sure. All right. I mean, I feel like I've invested over 2 months of work into this show. And I don't want to just throw the show away simply because we're making a change in format like this. And we're at the hottest time of wrestling right now. Like, there's actually a lot to talk about that happened this week on SmackDown and Raw that I want to address and give you my thoughts. And I think it's great. So hopefully you guys will still show up for the show tonight, despite the fact that PPP will not be on it. Okay. Okay. And we'll go from there. Now, if tonight I do the show solo and it's a disaster and no one shows up, and no one engages and no one supports and no one likes it, then I'll just cancel it. I mean, I don't want to. I really don't. I want to do the show, but I'm not going to continue to do a show no one wants. You know, there's no point. So let's see what happens. All right. Now, what I'd like to do, because not only there's a million questions here about all of this. All right, there is. Let's just briefly talk about what's happened and the change in attitude towards me and all of that since August of last year. Because all I can really do is speculate, but at the same time,